Hey, youth group parents and students. I know we've just started the semester, but time goes by fast, and next thing you know, we'll be in the summer. And so this summer, I would love for us to plan a youth group mission trip. I was trying to plan something 2 years ago, but of course, COVID ruined those plans. So this summer, I'm hoping that we can actually go on a mission trip. And so I wanted to make this presentation to kind of put some of the options on the radar for us. There are 3 great opportunities for us to think about, and all of these trips are either associated with Mission to the World, or MTW, which is the PCA's missions agency, and one of them is not necessarily affiliated with MTW, but they work very closely with MTW. So before I present to you the options, let me talk about kind of what we're trying to do in the youth group. 3 things that I try to keep in mind when it comes to youth group, and the goals that we want to see happening are really, we want to help students meet Jesus, mature in Jesus, and mobilize for Jesus. That just means that we want to help students have a saving faith, a growing faith, and an outward faith. And I think a youth group mission trip will really help the students mobilize for Jesus. And there are really 3 reasons why I think you should encourage and you should do everything you can to help your student go on one of these mission trips, and why I think you as a parent as well should feel comfortable with sending your kid on one of these mission trips. All of these trips are youth group oriented, and in the past, groups from different churches have gone, and they've been extremely fruitful and beneficial, and really helped those students grow in their faith. But I want to give you 3 reasons why I think you should encourage your students, and students why you should really be excited about participating in one of these trips. The first is because a mission trip really allows us to see that God is at work all over the world. I think sometimes we either get discouraged about the state of perhaps the church here in the United States, or we think that God isn't at work around the world, and yet a mission trip allows us to see how God is working around the world, how the gospel is impacting lives, how churches are helping communities and neighborhoods around the world. The second reason why is because a mission trip really helps us have a service-oriented faith, a caretaking faith. And this is not a faith that is all about me and consumer-centric, but it actually looks to others and seeks to serve and seeks to love our neighbor. And the third reason why is to get us out of Sugarland. Sugarland is a wonderful place. I love living here, but I think it's very important for us to see that not everyone lives in Sugarland, and there's a broader world outside of Sugarland. And so a mission trip really allows us to see that. So what are the options? I said that there are 3 options, and the 3 options before us are a trip to Dallas, a trip to Mexico, or a trip to West Africa. Now, I want to briefly present these 3 options, and I want us to think about them. Again, I'm just putting them on our radar, but I want us in the coming weeks to make a decision and to see if one of these trips is right for our youth group. So let me run through these really quick. The first trip is to Dallas, Texas. This would be a weekend trip. The dates are still to be determined, but we would be essentially working with a PCA church called New City Dallas, which is a church plant that is focusing on reaching the refugee community in the Dallas area. And so the week would consist of us learning about and learning from refugees that are actually a part of the church. And it would also consist of us on Saturday hosting a sports camp alongside the youth refugees, with the goal of just reaching out to the community and helping this church as they minister in this area. And then on Sunday, we would end by worshiping with the church there in New City, Dallas. The cost is to be determined, but we can try to get that number down a little bit by staying at one of the churches in the Dallas area. The next trip is a trip that I've been trying to plan for about 2 years, but it's a trip to Mexico. We'd be working with a ministry called Isaiah 55, which is a ministry that is serving the deaf community through education and also vocational training. The ministry also has a community center that they're using to reach out to the broader community. And so the week would consist of service projects, engaging the neighborhood kids through sports and activities, and even potentially using our wonderful youth musicians to serve the community, or even to play at one of the local churches that supports Isaiah 55. The cost of the trip is around $600 per student, which includes transportation, meals, and lodging. And the plan is that we would drive from Sugar Land to the Texas border, and then from there, the Isaiah 55 team would meet us up, and they would take us across into Mexico. Our youth group actually 2 years ago we did a virtual mission trip, and one of the stops on the virtual mission trip was Isaiah 55. If you're interested, you can read a short article where I was interviewed about our virtual mission trip. And then the final trip is a trip to West Africa. The country is disclosed for security reasons, but again, all of these trips are pretty safe. Youth groups have gone on these trips, but I guess just to, for precaution, they don't promote the country. But the dates are to be determined. But essentially, we'd be working with a local Presbyterian church, and we'd be putting on a VBS and activities, reaching out to Muslim families and about 200 children. And you can actually check out the flyer that I'm going to link in this email. It's a flyer from last year's trip. It gives you some more information. Obviously, West Africa is further, and so the cost is a little bit more. It'd be around $3,000 per person, but that would cover airfare, food, lodging, transportation, etc. And I think this would really be a trip where I would encourage our group to do some fundraising, both in the church and also outside the church, to kind of get that number down. So those are the 3 trips: Dallas, Mexico, and West Africa. I would love to know your thoughts. Please email me and let me know what you're thinking. You're not signing a contract if you email me. Again, I just want to get a sense of where we're at, get a sense of what could happen, some possibilities, and begin planning from there. So parents, students, reach out to me. Please let me know your thoughts. I can't plan if I don't know what everyone's thinking, so just shoot me a quick email, and we'll go from there. So thank you for watching.